Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since we've done some GTR updates, but today that is going to change. I'm actually going to be doing a big brake upgrade on my GTR. So today's video will be me unboxing the kit and showing it to you, and then going through the install and showing you exactly what I need to do. This kit actually is made for a Z32 300ZX, so it's not a direct fit with no modification to the R32 chassis. So I will show you what I'm going to be doing as I do the installation. So let's take a look at what we got. So I got the GTR up on jack stands now, and wheels are off. This is I actually have an R33 set of Brembos on the front. The rear are actually the standard GTR caliper. So I've actually got a series of boxes here. These are rotors, these are calipers, and then these are the adapter brackets, which are made out of billet aluminum, and they're pretty substantial too, which is really nice. So this is a front and rear kit. I've already cut the one out. This is the front, and these are the rear kit. But these are made by Concept Z. The brackets and all the hardware are included in the kit. I'll put links down in the description to everything that I'm using. And these all use really nice hardware, 10.9 grade bolts. Yeah, 10.9 grade bolts. Alright, and in this box I have from Z1 Motorsports. These are the stainless steel braided brake lines that come with new banjo bolts as well. And then these are the two-piece front and rear. The rears are on the bottom. Here's front and rear. Two-piece rotors from Z1 Motorsports. This is the original kit that I was going to put on, which used AMG 8-piston front calipers and CTSV 4-piston rear calipers. These were just way overkill for what I actually needed, and so I decided to go a different route. And that different route is with brand new Nissan 370Z Sport calipers from Akebono. So these are all brand new. This one is the rear. Now you can get them in a number of different colors, but I actually really liked the gunmetal gray, which are pretty close to the standard black, like that. And I think they'll also match up nicely with the color of the wheels that I'm putting on this car. This is obviously the rear though, but look at the size of the rear. It's almost the same size as the Brembos from the R33 front. These are just 2-piston. These are obviously 4-piston. And this is the brand new front caliper. So you put them side by side here. So that is the front, and that is the rear, side by side. So yeah, you can see the size difference here. 370Z on the right and the R33 GTR on the left. So it's quite a bit bigger. Alright, so I got things laid out here so you can take a look through it. With these brackets by Concept Z, billet aluminum front and rear, which I really like. It does come with a set of instructions that have some photographs and kind of talk you through the whole process. There wasn't a whole lot of information that I could find on the internet about exactly how to go through doing this and where I should shave and all those areas. I found a few photographs on one of the Facebook pages, and I'll go ahead and insert some of those pictures here to kind of give me an idea and give you an idea of where the shaving needs to occur on these. This is the rear bracket. There's actually no shaving on the bracket that actually needs to happen, but there is some shaving on the caliper itself based off of where these attach to the knuckle. and you have to shave down. I can't remember if it's this area or this area, but basically there's a little bit of shaving that has to be done with a die grinder tool in order to be able to get these little bolts in here. I think I'm going to start with the rear, so I'm just going to go, I'm going to get the old caliper off and get the old rotor off, and then we'll put things side by side and get moving. Alright, so I got the first rotor off, and the caliper is just kind of hanging up here at the top right now. I'll do something with that in a little bit. But I just wanted to show you the difference in size between these. These Z1 brakes, they're actually rebuildable as well, which is cool. It's quite a bit bigger, this one. They weigh about the same. These are actually fairly light. And this one is, I think this one's actually, you know what, I'll get a scale and I'll put the numbers up here. I don't have a scale in front of me right now, but I'll get one later, and I'll do the weight difference. But this one I think is actually heavier than that one, even though it's a lot smaller. I'll mount the bracket up so you can see what I'm talking about, and then I'll show you how the caliper fits up against it, and I'll show you what we need to do in order to modify the caliper to have it fit. Alright, let's go. Alright, so I got the first bracket installed here. You actually put it on, the instructions have it put on. This is not actually completely torqued down, but these get torqued down to 80 foot-pounds each, which I will do at the end, but right now I'm just test fitting. So what you need to do is put these, I forget what these are called, they're like cap bolts or something like that, but anyway, these, you make sure you have the lock nut in between. The other thing I forgot to mention is you have to cut the dust shield. So if you have not done that already, you need to make sure that you actually have the dust shields cut. So if you look here, you can see that's where the top bolt goes. It'll go all the way through. But if you look at the bottom, it is slightly misaligned, right? Because that nut right there, or that bolt I should say, is interfering on the caliper. So if you look, and I'll take the caliper off here, but if you look right here, we're going to have to remove some of this material with a die grinder, and basically where you're going to have to remove material is essentially right here, basically right where my finger goes. And it's not going to go all the way through, probably up to about this area, but you're going to have to grind down this a little bit, probably only about as width of my finger here, and then it should line up. Alright, so I'm going to break out my die grinder. I'm going to hit it with a marker and try and see if we can make that work, and we'll come back here in a little bit. Just wanted to show you here, it's hard to see a little bit, but I have marked out the area that I need to do some trimming, or grinding if you will. I got it stuffed with some paper so so any sharp pieces don't make their way down inside the caliper. And this is also covered in with a plug. So there shouldn't be any way of anything damaging getting inside. So I marked that with a Sharpie, and I'm going to start grinding, and then I'll do some test fitting. I got the rotor on now. You can see how big that thing is. This will be really cool when I get it all set up. Alright, let's keep going. Alright. First one is mounted, and I got the grinding done. I will take the caliper off now so you can actually see where I ground and how much I ground down, and you can see that there's still plenty of material left on the caliper, no problems at all. Alright, I got the caliper back off now, and I put it right next to the one that has not been modified yet. I put them side by side, the one that I've ground down and the one that is brand new, and I want you to see how much you actually have to grind away, which really isn't that much. I got a little oops and ended up touching the caliper with the grinder in a couple spots that I didn't need to, but in the end that'll be just fine. So if you look there, you can actually see how much of the material got ground away. It's not that much. It's basically right here where this tab goes. You basically just have to sink it down enough to get that metal bracket underneath. So that worked out pretty well. Yeah, you can see, hopefully that angle shows you a little bit better how much you had to grind away. As you can see on the inside here, there is still, the tab is still intact. The webbing is still, I don't know if you can see that or not. As you can see here, the webbing is still completely intact. It is not ground all the way through. I'll take a picture of it and show and attach it here so you can see a little bit as well. All right, that's good. So one of them is mounted. I'll go ahead and put the rotor on and then put the caliper on. That way you can see what it looks like. And then we'll get this one done and then we'll move on to the fronts. All right, well there it is. I got the first one mounted. Of course it's in the sun now, so it's kind of hard to see. But that's it. Yeah, I can't wait to get this thing all mounted up. So I got the front off now. I got the caliper just kind of sitting there on the floor. Everything is still connected, that way I'm not introducing too much air into the system. So here's the rotors. This is one of the fronts, and this is the front Brembo. I think these are 324 millimeters. I'm pretty sure that's what that size is, and these ones are actually 355. So you can see the difference there. I'll weigh these later also to see what the weights of them are, and I'll put those up on the screen here, what the difference in weight are. Alright, so here is the front bracket, made out of billet aluminum, which is awesome, and it's very substantial too. You can see the size of it. And where it needs to be ground down, I believe this one is the front right. Pretty sure this is the right. So the area that needs to have some material taken out is basically right along here and right along here. That way you can actually see how it fits in. The top actually looks like it fits in just fine, but down here it actually does not line up. You can see back in there that the holes are not quite aligned. So there's going to need to be some material kind of ground away out of the bracket, so that way it can fit up underneath of where that ball joint sits. I know it's not very easy to see on the camera, but let me see if I can show it to you here. So you can see the area that needs to have some material removed from it. Maybe it'll, yeah, that's a little bit better. So as it fits up here, you can see it doesn't quite align. So we're going to end up grinding away some of that bracket, get this thing lined up, and it should bolt on after that. Alright, I got things set up now. I'm getting ready to start grinding here on both the knuckle is going to use a little bit of grinding, and I'm going to start grinding on this as well. If you look at this just needs to be rounded off a little bit. And then on the bracket itself, this part needs to be cut out in order to fit around this part of the bottom knuckle. So we're gonna attempt doing both of those pieces. We're gonna do that now. I'll show you when I'm done. Alright, right here we have success, folks. I have everything test fitted up. Now I just need to put the rotor on, and I can show you, and then I can show you how everything goes together. I will show you the areas of the bracket and the little bottom part where the ball joint attaches to the knuckle that I had to clearance a little bit. Overall, you don't have to remove a whole lot of material, but it is tedious because I've been going back and forth and grinding, because I'm only taking very small amounts off each time. And so I think I had to test fit, grind, test fit, grind, test fit, grind probably about, I don't know, I want to say probably 30 plus different times. So it's been a couple of hours of me going back and forth. All right, this is with the front all mocked up, everything's good. So I got the rotor being held in place by one of the lug nuts, and you can see everything's good. I haven't put the pads in yet, and I haven't connected the brake lines either, but you can see it all fits. Just requires a little bit of patience and some grinding. That looks awesome. Alright, I'll take the whole thing apart now so I can show you where I actually did the grinding on the bracket itself and on the knuckle. I got the bracket taken back down now so you can see it. So I can show you all the grinding that you had to do. As you can see, there's tons of material left on this bracket because it's made out of billet aluminum, so it's pretty strong to begin with. But you can see all of the parts that basically need. So you can see here, you have to grind away a little bit there. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably, I don't know, maybe 3 millimeters or so down,
in and around, and then basically you have to cut relief here and then right here. Then you also have to grind a little bit on the bottom part of this knuckle, which actually is really not a lot. You're basically just, it's hard to see, but basically you're just filing down. You're basically just taking off a little bit, like maybe a millimeter. This one's probably like 2 millimeters all the way around. It's really not that much. You're not removing hardly any material, honestly. It just basically looks shiny because you grind away all this old dirt. But you can see under here, I mean, look, you still got plenty of, I mean, there's still plenty of metal there for it to, you know, have structural integrity, if you will. So anyway, those are the parts where you need to grind down. I'll put the bracket on now so you can see it. So you can see up on the upper part and the lower part, you can see through, and it matches. Right, and that's how you get the clearancing done. Alright, let me show you the grinding bit that I used as well. I'm using a tungsten carbide bit, but because the aluminum is really soft, it actually melts and gets stuck into the bit, like in between the little cuts on the actual die grinder. So a tip that I used, which actually worked really well, I read on the internet somewhere on an old forum, to actually dip it in transmission fluid and dab it off and then start to do your grinding, and that actually worked really well. So I would grind for probably, I don't know, 30-40 seconds, and then I'd dip it back into the transmission fluid, and then I'd start grinding again. So that actually did a really good job of keeping out all of the melted aluminum and from basically gumming up the whole works. These are the lines that I got that I need to install. They come with new banjo bolts and crush washers. So I'll be using these to install. They come with the connection to the Nissan hard lines. I got that. That also came from Z1 Motorsports as well. So anyway, that's the end of the video. Hopefully this was helpful for you. So if you're planning on doing a 370Z Sport big brake kit on your GTR, so just follow this video at your own house and you'll be good to go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.